Okay, so today we're going to go over a new set of reports. They are not in a dashboard, but they were designed by Orbis Cascade and tested by their analytics group. And I've gone in and tested them against a couple of your environments. And everything is looking really good and really accurate, which I like. I also like that it's not a dashboard because it means that you'll copy the folder and there won't be any of that weird like linking back to the report from the dashboard page, wondering if you're editing the wrong version. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and show you all where I've put this report. Uh, there we go. So it is it's still in the statistics reporting dashboards folder because that's where last year's was. And this one I will like hide or whatever later, but because it's not as great as the new one. So here it is. The folder is called 2023 ACRL and iPads Use. And then before you try to use it, they're beefy reports. And my internet is being really slow today. But even yesterday, I found that when I copied it into an institutional share folder instead of a consortia community share folder, they populated faster. So I have actually already copied this one into Skagit because Elena has a lot of sushi already going. So here it is. It's a pretty familiar kind of list of reports as far as titles go. It's got the question number as well as, like a little bit of detail and the directions. And if we go through these, they're very clean. And they are mostly based on, as much as possible, bibliographic record information rather than like physical item information. So if you've got physical items that ended up getting created as books, even though they're laptops, so you may want to tweak some of these if you know that you have cataloging weirdness. So here's books volume count, and Orbis Cascade does a really nice job of putting in the text of the question, and then it also has an explanation down here at the bottom of what is included. Now, as always, if you open one of these and you're like, that does not look right at all, you can always just click on edit right at the bottom of it, and it will take you to the criteria so that you can see what's going on. So this one is physical item detail because it is volume counts, not title counts. And as you can see, we've got the suppressed from discovery is equal to no. That filter is on every single one of these reports because one of the measure criteria for ACRL is whether or not the items are discoverable. Life cycle also equal to active, so not deleted. And then material type. So if you feel like there might be a material type that you have that needs to be counted as a book somehow that isn't included in this, you can always go and check that by editing the filter here. They've also done a nice job in all of these of doing a pivot table layout. for you. So there's no really super long, crazy tables in any of these. They'll all pop up as a nice pivot table with grand totals in there. So that is volume counts. So we'll take a look and I'll show you how the title count is different. So item creation date prior to, and so we have the different resource types and then the title count. And if we go to edit this one, you'll notice these are from bibliographic details. Even though it's the same subject area of physical items, they're getting this information from the LDR. Resource type comes from LDR 008. And so you're seeing different resource types. They've also put in this bibliographic level filter. So that's kind of up to you again, whether you think your bib records are accurate, whether or not you want to keep that filter on or not. As usual, because it's cataloging and that's not my area of expertise, and it's analytics, which is not transparent at all, I really don't know like where some of these different things are coming from. So that's always fun. What is nice is they have kind of completely revamped the digital and electronic reports for like content as well as usage. And I'm finding that everything's just a lot more accurate. So we'll see if this one works. I tried to load it a few minutes ago. So you can see with the ebooks, if you do have PDA or DDA collections that need to be excluded from the count because they're not actually purchased by your library, you can do that. I don't imagine very many of you, if anybody, has any of those kinds of DDA collections. That's very much an Orbis Cascade ebook package thing. So we'll cross our fingers. This like froze out twice. And I even tried to change which Wi-Fi network I was connected to. Everybody cross your fingers. And okay, I'm glad that other people's are spinning as well. What's weird? Okay, so what's weird is I can't actually edit that, so you won't see the accurate results because it won't be prompted. But if we go into edit, you can see they're using the subject area of e-inventory, which is not the same subject area that previous reports were built on. It's kind of been inconsistent how ebook reporting was built. They've got the in repository and available and not suppressed. Like they're really making sure that every thing that could impact an electronic book because of its different layers of existence in Alma is making sure that it should be counted. And now if we go to results, again, you've just got this really nice clean pivot table. You've got your grand total right at top. You can review this. So if you did have a PDA, well, so dissertations, I think, I can't remember. So the ProQuest dissertation is a database, but I believe there is something that
So in my list of digital electronic books, I have a collection activated that is Making of America Cornell Journal, and it includes 1,233 items, and that's why I was like, what is that? And then the description says a dissertation database. Or no, it just says a
Mm.
dissertation database. I don't know why it's saying that for it's an open source collection, but the note is a dissertation database such as ProQuest dissertation and theses database is reported as a database. But I don't know what that has to do with the 1,200 items in the Making of America Cornell Journal that is appearing on this list for me.
Yeah, so maybe
I mean,
that
I would
one,
exclude that one, but I'm just curious.
yeah, I'm not sure why they're not counting um dissertations in here because they do tend to get under manuscripts. But let's go take a look at the digital electronic media and see what the list of resource types there is. And also we can look at yours and see if it shows up in both places, just out of curiosity. Um, so if we go down to digital electronic media, let's see if I'll just go back to edit again because it's actually showing up. Um, so this one, like none of these resource types would indicate to me that they will include um, dissertations. It,
But I mean, that makes sense because that you're looking at the media report here.
yeah.
And
So
but
then
like a
to me, dissertation
dissertation,
should be counted somewhere, shouldn't they?
I'd I would argue that they should go into in form, they're like a book. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're not a serial publication. It's not an audio file or an image or video. Like their dissertations are at heart print material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
So there are parts of question. So like one of the things ACRL does is it says, oh, the best counter report to use for to answer this question is blah blah blah. And for one of them, one of the usage ones for electronic, it says to use unique item investigations. And I'm like, no, because like that is only then counting that like title use one time per session. And if someone downloads two different chapters, why is them downloading two chapters any different from two people downloading two chapters? Um, so yeah, this is why it's also wishy-washy. Um, but you can see every single collection where the media is getting pulled from. So if you see something here that you're like, that's not right, or what is this fun one hanging out? Um, anyway, so yeah, and the other thing is you may end up uh checking these reports for your own collections and realizing that the numbers are quite different from the numbers that you used previously, and you may want to, rather than look like something has drastically changed with your library collection, you may want to kind of look at how the last report was constructed and how this one is constructed and do a little tweaking um, to get them to match up a little bit better. Um, but, or maybe you're like, nope, clean slate. These reports look awesome. I'm just going to ignore everything that's happened before. Um, let's take a look at the digital electronic usage ones, because again, I think they've done a good job here. So here's the ebook e-media usage. One thing is if your, I think films on demand is being a little finicky with your sushi harvesting, your IRM1s might not be coming in from that, and they don't do TRB ones. So Elena's is working great. So here we've got, and this is the one that I changed because it had, it was using unique item requests from TRB1 and total item requests from IRM1. And I was like, that's doesn't make sense to me. Like, use the same for both, because unique item requests exists for both, and so do total. And so I actually threw in all four to kind of compare. And the numbers were not like tremendously different between total and unique, but I think that total more accurately reflects how users might explore a digital document, which is different than checking out a book one time. And I think by saying unique item requests should be counted, they're still trying to impose a kind of, this item was checked out once frame on the usage, when, you know, you might look at one chapter in one section of a book and a different chapter that's about something else entirely, especially if it's a book where chapters are written by many different authors. So my 2 cents. Anyway, so you can see here the total added together is up at the top, and that is so that as certain platforms they each only collect, well, except JSTOR apparently, because they're special. And Procast is little, but for the most part, they each only have one. And that way you just have the total all the way up. If you wanted, you could go in. Of course, if you do the prompt, you're not going to get all of this. But if you wanted to get rid of the month by month usage and just keep the grand total, you could certainly edit the display. You could basically just get rid of month key and month. You could pull those down into exclude, and it'll give us that. And if you're using the prompt, which will be fiscal year and it will start July 1, you'll get usage in 2022 from July 1 through December. You won't get the first half of the year. So it becomes a little redundant when you take out the month and the key. I don't know what the key is for, but just in case it's really important. I'm not going to save changes. And if you're not seeing usage somewhere, it's a good idea to go back in and check those electronic collections and make sure that they're activated. Check the if you've got sushi harvesting happening, you can go to acquisitions, import, load usage data, and you can check on each sushi account and see what the status of those reports are. You can also go to the monthly usage data and see that everything has come in correctly. Credo Reference did change their sushi provider, so if you have them, you will see that the most recent one, the new system started in August of last year, and actually I have the old ones, or the old one was called Credo Search. So you'll want to combine those, Elena, because they are gonna, I think they're separated in the results, but it's just because they changed their source, their whatever source, their data hosting, their counter host, when they got bought by Infobase. So yeah, so that's a good thing to keep in mind. If you're not seeing something, check here. The other thing to do is check whether or not the electronic collection is activated if you're seeing like very, very low usage. And then let's go take a look. So ILL, you may need to adjust this. I don't know how many people do ILL. I actually, before I saved these reports for you guys to copy over, I got rid of a bunch of the filters because they had like filters on the actual shipped format and they had filters on the lending status request. And I was like, if people are doing ILL, I'm not entirely sure that it's done often enough that some of this information would necessarily be in there or be in there correctly. So I just kept it really, really simple. So if you do have ILL, and it's from subject area of lending requests, is there, let me check chat. Okay. All right. Are there any questions about this one? It's yeah, again, I think it's just a lot easier to edit this and manage it for your own institution, not being a dashboard. I don't know why. I mean, like dashboards are pretty and it's really nice to click from tab to tab, but like it's all layers of trying to keep that all edited is nuts. And then if your prompts are separate from the analysis, that's even more to try and keep straight. Whereas all of these, the prompts, so if you do need to like edit the prompt, you want to change the prompt somehow, change the default for next year. If you go to prompt tab in each of these analyses, you will see the incorporated prompt. So the prompt is not saved separately. And then if you want to like edit the default, you open it up and then you do options and you can even like choose a default selection. Some of them are already chosen default selection for the date. Of course, fiscal year, everybody labels a little bit differently. So again, really smart. Orbis Cascade did not set a default specific value on fiscal period so that it's not erroring out if one person has labeled it FY dash 2024 and someone else has labeled it FY 23-24 or whatever. So yeah, that's where you can change that or check on that if you need to. But it's great that the prompts are all right there incorporated into the analyses, so you don't have to worry about losing them when you go to copy it over. Anyway, so yes, so it is again, the one to copy is in shared folders, community, reports, consortia, whack to click, statistics reporting dashboards, and 2023 ACRL iPads use. You can click on more, copy, and then open your own folder where you want to save it. And then up here, you just click paste. takes a couple seconds for the folder to move over. And then you can edit the description if you want. So like, obviously you don't need to copy again. So you can just get rid of the first sentence if other folks are going to be using it besides you. And that's it. As you can see by comparison, the statistics dashboard that I've been working on that was kind of like some of Wade's stuff based on Keystone, some of Orbis Cascade is ridiculous. Like there's so many different analyses that were put onto the same pages. There are reports that are not needed for ACRL that are in here. There's prompts separate from the reports. At least we did have activation date as the prompt and not creation date. So in that way, last year's version was not too bad. Age of collection is no longer one of those ones that gets collected. But of course, these are still available. Now, since we now have this great clean ACRL and iPads, if there are other reports that you need for stakeholders at your college that you're, like maybe are based on some of those old ones and you'd like some help making sure that they are accurate and updated for some of the new analytics options, feel free to shoot me a message and I will happily play in those and tweak them as needed for you. Yeah, Elena says that vendors have made it easier. Yeah, the counter 5 was I think a much bigger push and there was more advocacy for it than counter 4. And it also covered more material types. So I think vendors kind of jumped on board. And it's become just so much more standard of what they need. Yes, behind on sushi harvesting. So if you're behind on sushi harvesting, we do have the well, now you all know how I spend my time. We do have the sushi harvesting video. What? Well, it's here. It's just for some reason. Okay, videos. I literally just clicked on it. There it is. No, I just want to see it. Okay, there we go. Anyway, I guess my office looks so much cleaner now. I've edited this down, and then in this little link here goes to a document with the instructions, links to instructions, all kinds of resources, a place where you can collect passwords. So if you are not, like if you have a collections librarian who has the admin passwords, and you can add which reports are available here, which you can pull from here. This is what's needed. I will say that this is actually just admin username, which is typically WSI/location ID. However, I discovered that it was not that for everybody and it will cause problems. And they also want, Gail also wants a user email. So I'm going to add that too. I've been doing all kinds of insert one column left. And I'm just going to say other. And then I think it's admin. No, it must be requester email. And it's the email that's attached to the user. So yeah, so you can see I took this list of platforms from the Ex Libris counter registry list that they say works. And I only included the ones that I had found when I pulled everybody's activated electronic collections. So there's not a bunch of extra ones that you guys don't have. So yeah, if you're behind on sushi, this is here and the video is here, and I'll probably be doing another one in a little bit. I'm still working with several colleges individually because of troubleshooting. So yeah, I hope this is a helpful resource if you've been behind. I will say, if you can get ProQuest, EBSCO, and Gale set up, those three save you so much time that even if you still have to pull, because ProQuest now includes Alexander Street and like academic video on demand, and then you're only pulling some of the smaller stuff. If you can get InfoBase, that's another one. Yeah, and we were able to really like kind of fix a few in that October workshop, which is what I'm hoping will happen with the next workshop, is folks will have been able to maybe go through some of the steps that we've got here on their own, and then there'll be ones that aren't working, and we can all troubleshoot together and compare configurations, because I didn't realize the Gale thing until I was comparing someone else's, and even though it's literally not in any of the directions anywhere to include request or email, it didn't work. And I had everything set up correctly. And then finally I was like, let me just go check how Skagits is working. And sure enough, there was an email in request or email. So I like threw Leslie's email into the Yakima one, and what do you know? So, yeah, so there we have it. Hopefully this will save you some time, and um since I've that was all I had. Now you have 23 minutes if you want to go play with them or get them copied in to your shared folders for later. All right.
Carly.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having sushi set up, Elena. It helps me test things.
Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, and I always think, wow, why did I just, like do this? Well, I did it. I spent the 2 hours checking all of the different big consortia's new ACRL reports so that you didn't have to. Like, I didn't invent anything here. I tweaked slightly. But now none of you guys have to go looking for it. So a little bit of time saved maybe. But all right, everyone. Take care. Norm rules and cataloging Thursday. Let me know if you have something for the group to discuss, because I don't really have a topic yet. All right. Bye, guys.